So, Pap, this week we continue to see I don't know, the incredibly, well, the meltdown of a couple of right-wing icons. One who has been associated with the base, I guess, of the Republican Party, and another who was touted just, I guess 6 or 7 years ago as the moderate wing of the Republican Party, who has completely gone off the deep end. And frankly, from my perspective, there's nothing terribly surprising about Rudy Giuliani's comments and his continued double down on this. The only thing that's surprising to me is that there's been so many people in the media who, for the first time, are starting to realize that Rudy Giuliani is nothing more than Donald Trump, who actually served as mayor of this city.
To lay the story out, people get bits and pieces of how crazy the guy's gone, but to me, it's the image of this old, washed-up, has-been politician that is just helping himself melt down the very last parts of his relevance. I mean, I don't know.
I think so. And God bless, frankly, if this finally is the last straw that gets him off the national scene. But Rudy Giuliani, about a week and a half ago, basically went on television and said, I hate to say this, which is the way that he always starts these things, but he doesn't think that, but he didn't think that President Obama loves America. He said pointedly, I don't think he loves me. Speaking of, I imagine he loves Sam Seder, but Rudy Giuliani said that he doesn't think that he loves Rudy Giuliani.
I think he loves Sam Seder.
And yes, but I mean, here's the amazing thing: is that he's doubled down on this, and the interesting thing about this is not that this guy is saying anything to remain relevant. I mean, because obviously he's made millions of dollars in getting a lot of security contracts, both from the government and outside the government. This is a guy who has, cashed in on his status. He was a guy who has created this myth that somehow his policing of New York City back in the 90s was responsible for a drop in crime. We know now that that is not the case. We've seen it with the reversal of his policies. There's a lot of explanations that are out there, but one that really doesn't hold up, at least when you compare it to the rate of crime, was his locking up so many people.
Sam, you grew up around all this. I mean, these are stomping grounds up there in New York, and I mean, how would you characterize the guy's anything but this demagogue that has just built his entire career? He's built his entire image and brand around demagoguery, hasn't he?
Well, yes, and let's be honest, racism. I mean, he was out there basically saying things in the early 90s about David Dinkins, and he was out there in the early 90s basically promoting the police to get violent with people. I mean, this is a guy who did everything he could to move, to displace low-income people in this city, to really create a New York. I mean, he was the Michael Bloomberg project. It was started with Rudy Giuliani, and
so this time he says Obama's refusal to describe ISIS as Islamic terrorist and extrism is a sign that Obama hates America. I mean,
that's basically what it comes down to. Yeah. And so Giuliani, at least I think, has now been seen for the lunatic that he is. This is a guy who was just had a very sort of nasty past when it came to his family matters, which generally don't interest me that much. But if you're going to go on television and say that Barack Obama doesn't love America, if you're going to sort of try and discern what does
love mean?
Yeah, exactly. You should clean up your own house.
Well,
and this is a guy who's had very questionable ethics across the board.
It's amazing to me he stayed out of prison, to tell you the truth. I mean, cut it down to really its real issue. I mean, if you look at his channeling in through the New York politics, you go, my God.